Week 4 of Osaka. This episode is called Fallen Jedi.
Jedi.
I've gotten some little online chatter that kind of says that this is the best episode of the series. And
that's what Mastodon is saying.
And I watched the episodes and I've thought about it, and I think it probably is correct.
It's also the highest rated episode on IMDb.
It felt like a pre what's it called when it's not the preemptive
prologue?
No, the pre something. I've said 1,000
prelude.
times. Yeah, no, not even prelude. But
I don't know.
The one, it's not the finale, but it's before the finale. The
penultimate.
Yes, it feels like the penultimate episode, but it's not. We got 4 more episodes, and this series is already it's spinning on all the wheels. It's doing really good, so I really enjoy it. And it's there were some great lightsaber scenes. There was some great concept stuff that I liked a lot. Some droid on droid action, which I don't think we've ever seen before, which is pretty rad. And also
Stockholm robots.
Yeah, and also sadly some plot devices that we will have to talk about. So, what did you think of the episode?
I'm gonna go ahead and rate it. You ready to grade it?
Sure, I'll grade it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a. Now, so this is kind of on a this is on a scale. I'm giving this letter based on what this show is. And this show is like entertaining. It's not meant to be good or thoughtful, you know? So I'm going to give it an A-. I'm going to give it an A- as a show that's just meant to be entertaining.
I don't know. That's kind of harsh, but yeah, okay. I'll give it,
like if I were comparing it to Andor, there's no way it would get close to an A.
Well, I think we got we got some cool stuff going on.
But like just judging it as for what it is, this is an entertaining show.
Yeah, okay.
I'll give it an A-.
All right, I'll give this just a regular old A. The institution I teach at, we don't give A- or B-. We just give A's, B's, C's.
Yeah.
So this nice little A. There you go. And I think let's talk about the goods. The things that are working really well. I thought that they've been saving the lightsaber fights for this episode. I thought the lightsaber fights were really, really good.
You know, they were good. The choreography was good. I felt like we had. Particularly between Rosario Dawson and Ray Stevenson, we had 2 actors that looked like they were capable of carrying out the choreography, but the director would never let me know that because there were too many really close-up shots and too many cuts during the lightsaber fight scenes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I dig that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Western. It's a Western thing, and it's also a usually this is why it's a Western thing. I think is, hey, our actors aren't really doing this stuff. We've really got stunt people doing it, and we can't show you that we have stunt people doing it. Whereas, like Eastern films, they have actors that are usually capable of actually doing the fighting, like Jackie Chan. But I felt like they looked like they were capable, and I was disappointed that the director, new director on this episode, he's the first time. This is his first, and I think only episode of Ahsoka. Peter Ramsey, but I was just disappointed that we didn't really get to see the fights play out the way I think we should have.
I didn't really have that same complaint. I thought there was
there were a lot. I couldn't tell what was going on because there were so many close-up shots and so many cuts.
There was a lot going on in this episode, so I kind of feel like you had to shove it real. Like this could have been 2 episodes, but they decided to do 1. Kind of nailed everything in there.
Best shot in the episode was the lightsaber duel between Sabine Wren and my girl, Shin Hati.
I don't understand why you
listen. This is the best shot. So it's the shot where in the foreground is Sabine's Mandalorian helmet, and in the background is, I assume, 2 stunt people doing a lightsaber duel. And it's a long shot, so you can actually, even though it's out of focus, you can actually see the lightsaber duel playing out. And that was just a super cool shot.
Okay.
Best shot for the entire series so far. You remember the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
I liked when Morak got his lightsaber spinning, like it was going to do something amazing, and then Ahsoka just like slash him. It's interesting that there's been a lot of debate about who or what he was, and I think he's called the Night Brother. There's a link in the show notes.
Yeah, I saw somebody suggesting that. It makes sense, I guess. I don't know what a Night Brother is.
Yeah, I don't care either. It's fine.
Do you know what a Night Brother is?
Apparently, it's some kind of like the woman that the woman that's a bad guy. Her name
Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah, she is like a knight's daughter or something like that, and it's like
she's some kind of a
knight's sister. Yeah, and she's a knight's sister, so it's like a puppet or some kind of thing that she can control. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to try to find a Star Wars expert to kind of hang out with us one day, but it doesn't really matter. I think that fans thought he was intriguing and it was going to be part of a bigger kind of story.
Yeah, people thought he was going to be like some kind of a big reveal.
Yeah, people thought he was Star Killer from one of the Jedi, one of the Star Wars video games a long time ago. But I don't know. Whatever.
And some people thought maybe it was going to be Ezra. I thought like if it was going to be a big twist reveal, I thought probably Ezra would be the reveal.
Yeah,
but I'm glad that it wasn't one. To be honest, I was not looking forward to that.
Yeah, and like I don't think here's the problem. This isn't a problem of the show. But here's the
everybody with the mask doesn't need to be some like secret identity from another show or something. You know?
Yeah,
people can just wear masks.
Yeah, I agree, and I think wearing a mask does make people wonder stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But this show has the problem of Star Wars Rebels, and the longer the show goes on, the more people are going to assume or hope that this show is going to latch on to all the history of Star Wars Rebels. At the end of the episode, we get Anakin Skywalker back, and so that automatically brings up a bunch of stuff. So that's good, I think, but also bad because you have a lot of people like us who have never watched Star Wars Rebels, and we don't know a lot about that stuff. And so, like the show has to respect people who love Star Wars Rebels, but also he has to understand that people aren't going to watch it or haven't watched it. Maybe people will find this interesting enough to go back to watch it. I think it's a disservice for Disney Plus not to give us some kind of this history of Star Wars Rebels before we get to watch it, like a really truncated episode, like the legend stuff they do. Maybe they have that. Maybe I have to look for it. But they could have helped us out learn more about this, but they didn't. So it is what it is.
Oh, hey! I just realized we've been in this for a while, and you haven't done your classic recap.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the energy to do that.
You don't have to do the noises. You know?
All right,
I'm totally fine without the sound effects.
Yeah, all right. So let's do a recap. So the ship is damaged, and our droid friend, the guy that David Tennant, he is fixing the ship. He gets attacked by a droid. And he actually fights the droid pretty well. It's pretty awesome. But he does a good job fighting the droid off. And then
he does pretty good.
Ahsoka and Sabine go down there and help out, kill the bad guys. And then Sabine and Ahsoka decide to go over to find the map.
Lots of conversation before this happened. Lots of conversation between Ahsoka and Sabine about whether or not they should destroy the map and prevent the baddies from getting to Thrawn.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that at length, but there is a conversation where Ahsoka says we might have to destroy the map. If we destroy the map, we can't find Ezra. Ezra might be dead.
We can say that.
Alive.
Get in depth.
But it's important. It's important.
That's the opening of the
episode. Because it's a big issue. They go out, and of course, they meet our Shin Hati and our boy Marak. Ahsoka.
Shout out to I think it's Multiverse Mike on Mastodon, who found out that their last names are the names of two Norse mythology figures. Skull and Hati are they're the people that chase around the sun and the moon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's neat. So there's a fight, and it's like Sabine versus Shin round 2. I feel like Sabine handles herself a little better against Shin in this round. But Ahsoka just destroys Morak in kind of embarrassing fashion. Then Ahsoka goes after the map while Sabine fights Shin, which is interesting because Hugh Aang tells them to stick together, which I feel like they ignored that, and Ahsoka should have dealt with Shin. We should put egos aside and let Ahsoka deal with Shin, and then they could have both went after the map. It would have been a successful venture for them.
Yeah, I mean, Hu Yang said you guys should stick together.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, there's a couple technical errors that happened that were used as plot devices, which I'll talk to in a second.
Okay.
Ahsoka then has to fight Baylan, and Baylan's a big dude. Ray Stevenson's a big, nice, broad-chested dude. And it was a very good contrast between Ahsoka and him. And the fight was like one person who was very mobile and agile versus somebody who's like very strong. It was well done. I really like that fight. Yeah. Ahsoka sacrifices her left hand in order to get the map off of the pedestal, so the data from the map will stop going to the hyperdrive up in space or whatever it is.
Yep.
But then Shin shows Shin shows up as Baylan and Ahsoka are fighting. Right. When Shin shows up, Ahsoka assumes that's because Sabine has been killed or been hurt. Yeah, right. And so she uses her force powers to like knock out Shin, which distracts her long enough. But then Sabine shows back up and grabs the map, and she holds the map at literal gunpoint. And
Ahsoka that was like after. What wasn't that after Ahsoka got sent off the cliff?
No, it was right before. It was right before because Ahsoka yells, "Destroy it!" And then Baylan pushes her off, and then. And this is interesting. This is where I'll start talking more in depth. So Beam doesn't destroy the map because Baylan kind of tells her that if you destroy the map, you're not going to find Ezra. If you don't find, and like you really want to find him, I swear to you, I will not hurt you. You can come.
We have a shared mission here. Sabine. Yeah, we both want to get to that location where your friend is.
Yeah, Sabine gives up the map. She's captured. All of them going to the hyperdrive.
Baylan wants to do it for the greater good.
Yeah, which is so stupid. Hera shows up with 6 TIE fighters. With 6.
Apparently, that's a book. That's like some Star Wars book.
What?
Greater Good. Something.
Hera shows up with 6 X-class fighters. 3 of them are destroyed. No, 4 of them are destroyed when the hyperdrive, big hyperdrive, goes out to the next galaxy. And at the end, we don't know where Ahsoka is, but she wakes up in a place that we assume is a thing called the World Between Worlds. And that is where she was before in Star Wars Rebels. And she turns around, and Anakin Skywalker is played by Hayden Christensen, is like looking at her.
I didn't expect to see you here this soon.
So is she dead? We don't know. We'll talk about it, of course. But that's the end. So there's a lot of fan service in here. A lot of fans love Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker. They love the prequels, which I guess children like the weird things. That's fine.
That's right.
Children like the weird stuff. And then we got the fight. We got pretty good fight scenes. But here's the problem And this is something I want to be upfront about, okay? Like, everybody knows, people that listen to podcasts know I teach creative writing, which means I teach storytelling. And a lot of times we talk about plot. In order for plot to work, sometimes you have to kind of squint your eyes and hope for the best. And when Hayden says, you guys should stick together, and they don't, that was a sign that things were going to go bad. Now, it's also a sign that obviously they're going to get back together at some point. But there's a couple different places here that are really problematic. And I'll go over 3 of them. The first one is when Ahsoka beat Marok, Ahsoka should not have listened to Sabine. Ahsoka should have force grabbed Shin and knocked her out. And then the 2 of them should went from the map. It would have taken them literally seconds.
Yeah, like now you're 2-on-1.
Yes, it would have been easy.
Let's deal with this, and then go.
And I think any other Jedi would have done that.
Anybody.
This isn't a pride.
Neighborhood kids would have done that.
Yeah, I don't have to fight one-on-one.
Like you're in a neighborhood fight.
No. Neighborhood kids. I feel like if you're a neighborhood kid and someone challenges you to a fight one-on-one, you should accept and you should just do it. But if I'm trying to save, the galaxy from another intergalactic war, I don't have time. I wouldn't even listen to Sabine. I would went over there, like, chopped off your girl Shin's head, and now like, well, we don't have to worry about her anymore. She's dead.
That would have made me upset. But yeah,
but they
should have, like, taken care of her.
But this is the difference between the real world versus this fake world that they've created. The fake world that they created, Sabine had to fight Shin 1-on-1. So Ahsoka fights Baylan 1-on-1. And here's the biggest problem here. In the previous Star Wars episodes, going back to not the original episodes, but the prequels, Yoda says something. He says, fear leads to anger leads to hate, and hate leads to something else. I forget what the other one is. But the idea
I think it was ultimate power.
Yeah, the idea is you can't train older children to become Jedi because the older children will feel emotions and know how to deal with them and know what they are, like love. If you start training a Jedi at 3 or 4, they don't know what love is, and so they don't have that concept.
Yeah.
Okay, Sabine loves Ezra. That is a weakness, and that weakness was used by Baylan to get it back. Like it was this blatant. Like everything about like the Star Wars canon about why emotional people shouldn't use the Force was proven in that scene. Like Sabine never should have been there at all. And I think Ahsoka, she kind of closed her eyes at the very end when she realized that. She's like, she's going to give up the map. Like, and
Ahsoka knew at the very beginning. She's like, she knew the whole time that Sabine was going to make the wrong decision. That's what their extended conversation was all about, I think.
Yeah, but
it was like, at first Ahsoka's like, hey, we're going to have to destroy this thing because if we don't, yes, we won't be able to find Ezra anymore, but also they won't be able to find Thrawn, and that's the most important thing. That's that's life and death for millions of people, right?
Well, the thing is, the show started with Ahsoka telling Sabine that, hey, Ezra could be alive. You should decode the map so we can find him. Ahsoka's at fault, too. Because if Ahsoka never should have said that. She never should have said anything about Ezra. Because now,
the only reason she was only telling Sabine something she knew about. Right?
The only reason Sabine is there is to get the map to find Ezra. That's the only reason she's there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And she shouldn't have been there in the first place. Period. Now, Ahsoka needed Sabine, and that's a reality thing. She needs help. But the plot-wise thing is, this whole failure had to exist. It's the 4th episode of 8 episodes, so it makes sense for the action to get higher and for stakes to get bigger. That makes sense. But from a reality standpoint, there are several things where you could easily be like, I wouldn't make that decision. I wouldn't have made that decision. I wouldn't have made that decision.
Right. The Sabine decision at the end to give him the map reminds me, it is very selfish, really stupid, and reminds me of the idiotic decision, which I hated, and you'll have to help me out here. Is this Endgame or is this Infinity War? Where Star-Lord gets mad at Thanos.
Infinity
War, and stops the rest of the Avengers from being able to get the glove off of his hand.
And
that's how dumb this decision was. It reminded me of that.
Well, okay, Mike, I'll even go one step further. Why is the map even there in the first place?
Didn't they need it?
No, but why was the map on that planet?
Oh, well, it was on that planet because she left the...
Exactly.
Yeah. This is her second tragic screw-up.
Exactly.
In 4 episodes.
Now, she's going to get redeemed, of course. It's going to happen. I don't think...
I don't want her to.
No, you don't want to, but it's going to happen. That's just how it is. I'm sorry.
I don't want her to. I don't want her to die. In this series.
She might die.
Somebody needs to. Might as well be her.
Well, I think killing off characters is lazy. I think it lacks imagination. I would prefer other things.
Well, we've had 2 fake deaths in this series so far.
That's true. We don't know if Ahsoka's fake dead. She could be real dead. You know that?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but like it's not.
I'm betting she's fake dead.
But it's not lazy writing. It's just tradition. This is all very traditional, and like it's not doing anything different. It's not breaking. It's not breaking any kind of story molds. This is not doing anything I haven't seen 1,000 times. My students have written plots like this 1,000,000 times. It's not doing anything different.
Right.
And shamefully, I wish it would. I'm very curious to see
just
how
avoid
this
the
out.
really cheap cliches.
But you can't, Mike. And here's the problem: you can't.
You totally could.
You can't.
You gotta set the chess pieces up differently at the beginning.
For the amount of money that these shows cost, there's zero reason today to make risky storytelling. They do risky storytelling.
You don't have to do risky storytelling. You just have to do good storytelling.
That's risky. Good storytelling is always risky because it might not work.
All right. Well, they did it with Andor.
Yeah, but it might not have worked, but they did. Right?
But it did.
Yeah. And so again, the people who are watching Ahsoka might not want risky storytelling. They might want exactly what this is going to be.
Maybe not.
I don't know. I don't. You were talking about this isn't serious, and I kind of agree with you. Like
that's not.
I'm not looking for
popcorn. This is a popcorn TV show.
Yeah, but it's also good. It's good popcorn stuff because this is the best Star Wars thing I've seen since Disney Plus came out.
You haven't seen Andor.
I haven't seen Andor. I'll look at that at some point. But I was thinking about this in the terms of the Mandalorian. Like, wow, this is way better than Mandalorian. It just is. It is.
Not the first series of Mandalorian. I don't.
The last season 3 of the Mandalorian was pretty good. I like season 3, but I think
season 3 is the low point of the Mandalorian.
No, it's great. What are you talking about? But also, I'm hoping because we have Captain Carson Teva show up.
Yeah,
I'm just begging for the Mandalorians to show up. I'm looking at the top cast for this episode, and whoever played Lieutenant Lander, is Brendan Wayne, and his photo on IMDb is him dressed up in Mandalorian armor. Pretty sure he's one of the two guys that is the on-screen Mandalorian in The Mandalorian. Oh.
So maybe there's another reason he's working on this show.
Well, remember the Mandalorian storyline is tied to Star Wars Rebels. I started really thinking about this. A lot of what we've seen in Disney Plus is connected to Star Wars Rebels, and so I don't be surprised if we get a nice little cameo of our Mandalorian friends, which would be just amazing.
Yeah, I'm starting to. I mean, you called it. I think, and when we were talking about the first episode, I'm starting to think that we're probably going to see a Mandalorian.
Just give us the massive Star Wars movie ending, because these Disney Plus shows always end kind of, and give us a massive Star Wars ending that we deserve. Like, just give us the good stuff.
Like, what is a massive Star Wars ending that we deserve?
Like, the Mandalorians all show up. Like, Djinn, what's his name? Djinn, and what's that
Din
woman's name?
Djarin.
Yeah, what's Starbucks' name?
Starbucks.
What's her name? I forget.
Yeah.
Anyway, they all show up and they all just fight a bunch of people.
Something.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Anyway, cool. The tone of the show is great. The special effects are amazing. The action scenes are really good. The amount of money they put into this is obvious compared to what we've seen from like Secret Invasion, which was pretty much no money. Well, not really, because they paid the actors, but that's it.
I mean, they
didn't pay anything else, just the actors.
Right.
And so, I mean, whatever they're cooking with Star Wars over here is working. It really is. I'm really enjoying this. I'm looking forward to next week. It's like 40 minutes, but it's like 40 minutes of fun.
Yeah, I mean,
stuff.
I'm looking forward to next week too. I know I've been harsh on this episode, but I gave it an A-. That's the highest grade that Ahsoka's gotten from me yet.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem...
this is definitely the best episode of the series so far.
And, like, don't be too hard on Sabine. I mean, Balin was using some Dark Force stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he was using Jedi mind tricks. Yeah,
he was.
But it was a foregone conclusion. I mean, Ahsoka knew it at the very beginning of the episode. That's why they had that long conversation in her ship. Because, like, they had the shorter conversation outside. Ahsoka's like, Sabine, can I count on you? Sabine goes, you know you can. And then she turned to her side and whispered, not.
Well, Sabine,
so that's why they had like the longer one inside the ship, and she's trying to convince her. But you can tell the whole time that Ahsoka knows Sabine's not going to be able to make the right choice.
And also, Sabine destroying that map would be a death sentence for her. So let's just, let's not kill ourselves.
I mean,
Anyway, that's episode 4 of Ahsoka. Pretty good. I think we liked it okay.
Yeah, we liked it okay.
I have no idea where this is going next episode.
A-.
I have no idea where this is going. I'm very curious. I mean, the relationship between Anakin and Ahsoka is going to be curious to see because, of course, Anakin was her mentor, was her master. She was his apprentice, so it's going to be fun to see that movement.
Would you try to block a very large ship from doing a hyperspace jump? Light speed jump?
If the fate of the galaxy was at stake, yeah, I would. Yeah.
You would?
Yeah, okay. Of course. And shout out to just the raw fear of that guy coming back from the galaxy. Like they're willing to do everything they can to stop this guy from coming back. It's pretty awesome.
Now this in the timeline, this is before is it Holda maneuver? Was it General Holda or Holdo?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
In the sequel trilogy where she uses the light speed jump to like saw through like a big Star Destroyer or something.
Oh yeah, this is way before that.
Yeah, this is way before that. So Hera isn't aware that the Holdo maneuver or whatever it is exists. She's like, maybe nobody's ever tried to block a light speed jump before.
I'm sure tons of people have tried to do that before. Come on. And like one more thing before we move on to some news we can't abuse. The shows Star Wars does not care about physics or laws of gravity or science laws. I mean, it's very much. I think Star Wars, and this is going to be controversial, but I don't think this is controversial at all. I don't think Star Wars is science fiction, Mike. I think Star Wars is fantasy.
No, I don't think that's a controversial opinion.
Oh, is it? I didn't say anything new. This is something people talked about before.
I mean, I don't think anybody's ever. I've never heard anybody actually say those words, but yeah,
it's true.
It's what do they call it? A space opera?
Yeah, I would say a space opera and space fantasy. It's definitely not science fiction. This is not science fiction because science fiction is rooted in actual science, and there's no science in any of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's magic in here.
Yeah, lots of magic. Almost everything is magical.
I mean, scientists are pretty open about the fact that like lightsabers can't really exist.
That's sad. Why not?
Well, like Brian Cox said that they could exist, but then when he was challenged on it, he's like, yeah, you would need something to stop the light from like extending forever.
I always assumed it was
but he did agree that like lightsabers could clash against each other because light is made up of photons, and the photons are matter, and so the matter of the lightsabers could strike against each other. So,
well, if force fields could exist, then they're just force field swords. So.
Yeah, but what's stopping it? Like, why is it only?
It's a force field. It's a force field.
4 feet long. Why is it only 4 feet long?
It's energy that's partially matter, and so it has that between state, and so you can mess with it that way.
Yeah, but like it should be like infinity.
It's not a laser. It's not a laser. You're thinking of lasers. This is not a laser.
No, this is a light beam. It's a light beam. Lightsaber.
But it's control. It's not even. I don't even think it's light.
What's stopping it?
I think lightsabers are a term. It's not exactly what they are.
You don't think it's actually light?
No, I think they're energy force fields. That makes more sense. Like light, you can't do that. Like you can't stop a light beam from a flashlight. You can't stop that. But a force field, which is technically something that you can't really do, but you can kind of do, is weird. Energy manipulation in that regard, you can do that all day long.
Energy.
We don't have the technology.
I don't know if that's less likely than a lightsaber or more likely than a lightsaber.
But I don't know. It makes more sense to me.
Yeah. Why does it glow then if it's just energy?
I don't know. I don't know.
I do have to say though, if I got to pick my color of lightsaber after watching this episode, I would definitely go for an orange lightsaber. They're pretty awesome looking.
I would go for a. I don't know.
I like the bright orange. I like
real dark. Orange. I would go for dark blue, like for the darkest blue you can make it.
Yeah,
real dark.
Like the what's it called? The Mandalorian saber, the dark.
No, not the dark saber. It would just be blue. Saber. Real blue.
Real blue. Oh, almost like Samuel L. Jackson's, where it was purple.
His was purple.
Yeah.
The purple and blue are two different colors.
They're right next to each other.
No. Is purple part of the spectrum? Where'd you bib? Nope, it's not. Purple is what, orange and
it's like blue, indigo, and violet. It's like some kind of combination of those two.
Yeah. All right. We have nothing else to talk about. We got some news you can't
use. We wrapped it up when we're talking about Roy G. Biv.
Yeah. Okay, news you can't use. So the actor who plays the Watcher is going to make an appearance in I Am Groot.
I thought the Watcher was going to make an appearance in I Am Groot.
I guess the Watcher is going to be in I Am Groot.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Who's the Watcher again?
Jeffrey Wright.
No, but who's the Watcher?
You know who the Watcher is. He watches things.
He's that guy in the sky that did all the what if stuff.
Yeah, he's the Watcher. He watches stuff. Yeah. I'm not going to watch. I don't think we're going to do a show on I Am Groot.
I watched the first set of the I Am Groots, and I regret it.
It's not really.
I don't think we're going to be doing a show on the second set of I Am Groots.
It's not really for us. It's not really.
No, it's not.
Here's some bad stuff, and I've warned people, but here the buys are going to start. The buys are starting. Daredevil has been delayed indefinitely.
Why is that?
Because the writers' strike. The writer is an actor's strike. And if you guys don't know, the writers and actors are striking because multi-million-dollar companies and businesses and movie studios want to use artificial intelligence, generative AI, to write scripts, and they want to use generative AI to make actors, so they can fire everybody and make movies without actors and writers. And
also, they don't want them to get any residuals for the work that they did.
Which, by the way, artificial intelligence has been the dream of capitalist society since the beginning of time. Marx has talked about this before, and if you think that generative AI won't be used against the common man, you are sadly mistaken. They will take all our jobs. They will put us all in the street, and we'll all starve to death.
Right.
So keep that in mind. Support the actors.
Support the actors and writers. Absolutely.
You really should. If you believe in making your own stuff, if you're
most of them aren't making a living.
No,
there's a few lucky ones. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Rosario Dawson. They're lucky. Out of the people in here, maybe the vast majority of the actors in this show are probably not making a living.
Yeah, they're barely making it, right? Yeah. And if you you guys don't understand, Apple will stop doing every podcast. They will delete every podcast on demand, and they will have AI make podcasts, and they will do it. And they will do it instantly because it's easy for them to control, and they don't have to pay anybody. So you really have to stop this because it's going to get out of control.
Yeah, don't let them get podcasts next.
It'll be podcasts, it'll be movies, it'll be TV shows, it'll be books.
First they came for the writers and actors, and I did nothing, and then they came for the podcasts, and the world ended. I
think that at a certain point, everybody's going to have to draw a line with their dollars and be like, I'm not supporting this because it's bad. And I think at that point, then people will be like, okay, we can't do this. But companies would love to do it. They would absolutely love it. They will replace everybody with a robot if they could. And then none of us would have a job. And they wouldn't pay robots. They would do it in a second.
Yep.
It's so crazy.
And there'll be nobody to buy the stuff. And they don't get that. They don't get that.
They don't care. They'll put us all in the grave if they can make a buck off of it. I'm an anti-capitalist. What's the term for that? Marxist? Whatever. Okay. So Ahsoka has low viewership versus other Star Wars shows?
Really?
That's what this article said?
Versus what? What else is better? I mean, Andor should be better, but...
So viewership data from some website revealed that 1.2 million households watched Ahsoka over the course of its first 6 days on Disney+. Comparatively, the Book of Boba Fett had 1.9. And
it was a stinker.
Obi-Wan Kenobi had 2.14.
Oh my God. You know what? People watched Obi-Wan Kenobi and they lost hope.
No.
So that's why they're not watching Ahsoka.
And The Mandalorian got 2.08 million in the first 4 days.
That's weird because, I guess, Mastodon doesn't represent the world, but there is so much more talk on Mastodon about Ahsoka than anything else that we've ever had a podcast about.
Yeah. Okay. So here's some other numbers. The first 5 days of Disney Plus shows. So here's the first 5 days of other shows, and I got my ideas why. Loki 2.5 first 5 days. Moon Knight 1.8. Falcon Winter Soldier 1.8. WandaVision 1.6. Hawkeye 1.5. She-Hulk 1.5. Secret Invasion 909,000, and then Miss Marvel 775. Here's why. There's two reasons why. The first one's obvious. It's a woman thing. This is how it is, and Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and Osaka are better shows than Loki, Moon Knight, the Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision. It's interesting.
You Loki in that?
Well, I mean, I think Loki's good, but it's obvious that like if men are watching this, they're more subconsciously trying to go to watch more men stuff than women stuff, and I think watching a woman be an awesome, badass lightsaber duelist, this makes some people uncomfortable. For a lot of reasons. I'm not really sure why. It's actually interesting, Mike. People. I was thinking about playing Starfield because we talked about this before the podcast, and like I watched a video of a guy create his character, and he makes a character creation as a man. And I'm like, my character's gonna be a woman. Like my Mass Effect character was a woman. Two of my Destiny 2 characters are both women. I'm not interested. I'm a dude. I have no interest of being a dude. Okay, none. Like I have a lot of interest in being a woman. That sounds fun to me. Like okay, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it in real life, so let me do a video game. That sounds great. But I have no interest doing that in a game.
I guess I'm kind of evenly split. In my Destiny, I've got my main character is a male character, and then my secondary character is a female character.
It just doesn't like if you play.
And then in Fortnite, I'll switch it up between the men and the women skins or whatever they call them.
Yeah, if you play Mass Effect, the best voice acting is done by the woman voice actress. It's you have everybody knows you have a better experience playing as a woman in Mass Effect. So half of it is that like women have a hard time with viewership, but the other half is name recognition. Loki, WandaVision, like those characters are connected to the MCU, so people recognize it. Obi-Wan Kenobi, same thing. Yeah, and I think and part of it is with the Mandalorian is he kind of looks like Boba Fett, and so I'm curious about overall viewership of the entire series. But I mean, Ahsoka is such a good series right now. And
I mean, it's definitely better than Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No doubt. And like if you're not watching this because it has a woman lead, then you're kind of a sad person with a dark, sad life. Like what's wrong with you? Like especially if you're in your 40s, you should be done with that by now. Like you can't pick up a lightsaber without straining your back. So
is this show for like is it generational or is it trying to unite the generations of Star Wars?
I don't know. But I think a lot of people who watch Star Wars Rebels is probably watching this, and I think a lot of people who like Star Wars is probably watching this. I'm not sure who this is aimed at.
Like I'm saying, I mean, there's tons of chatter about it on Mastodon. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think the people who are watching it love it, and I think that the show is great, and I think that Disney knows it has a hit. But like it's like you're gonna have a little issue with viewership when you have a female lead on the cover, and like Osaka's name isn't well known for most people. If I walked up to someone on the street and I said Luke Skywalker, they know what I meant. But if I say Osaka, they'd be like, "Who?" Right? And so that's the problem as well. But who cares? I mean, they're missing out on a great show. Disney needs to do a better job getting people to understand what these shows are instead of just. And this is about all their stuff. They just can't assume.
Well, they need to do a better job of not putting out junk so that people tune in for everything instead of like kind of cherry picking and trying to find out what they should actually watch and what they shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm saluting Disney in this. Disney has a hit with Osaka. I was really worried when it came to Secret Invasion, but this is doing pretty good. And it's September, right?
Secret Invasion. You said that word again.
Sorry. It's September. We'll be watching the Marvels before you know it. Wow.
Yeah, it's not far away.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to
see they push it.
They won't push it. I can't wait to see all the women hairs with that movie. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. All right. What would be a fun episode if we just read all the silly Reddit posts about it? That'd be fun. That is something fun.
We could, if you collect them, we could do that.
Maybe if we have a dry spell, maybe. All right. So that is it for episode 4.
I'm sure we will. That strike isn't getting resolved anytime soon.
Oh, Lord. I hope it doesn't. I hope it never gets resolved.
Have you picked out your movie yet?
For what?
My movie that we're going to watch is, of course, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh God!
What's your
just
movie?
Gave me a stomach ache. I don't want to watch that movie.
It's a great movie. You like General Hera Syndulla in here, right?
I don't want to watch it. I've been avoiding that movie for 20 years, and that's not an exaggeration. I really have.
Has it been out for 20 years?
Probably, yeah.
Why would you avoid that movie?
I don't want to watch it.
Why?
I just don't feel like it. I honestly just don't.
What is it about it that rubs you the wrong way?
I don't know. It just annoys me. It just does. I haven't watched The Godfather.
Is it Michael Cera?
I haven't watched The Godfather. I just don't feel like watching it.
I mean, okay.
I don't know what it is about that movie, Scott. I'm not interested.
It's a really good movie. You're going to love it when we watch it.
What movie am I going to pick? I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Die Hard. I don't know.
I mean, I'll go with Die Hard. Whenever we run out of X-Men, we're going to do the Scott Pilgrim.
Hopefully we'll never run out of X-Men. We're going to do a 4 episodes for X-Men First Class.
No, we will not.
We're going to juice it up.
We will not do that.
All right, Mike, how can our listeners support us and help us and pass along the truth of Superstar Show to the masses?
Well, let's, hit the share button. Just do it. Hit the share button. Share it with your friends, your group texts, whoever. Random people walking by. Also, remind them, do we have a Patreon?
We do have a Patreon.
We do.
So you can easily support us there as well.
Yeah.
But no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. But we do have one, so you can do that.
Yeah.
How do they find it? Super Sideshow Podcast on Patreon.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Patreon. So it's Patreon. It's Super Sideshow. Just Google Super Sideshow Podcast Patreon. You will find it. We're also on Mastodon, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube.
But just look for Super Sideshow there. It's usually spelled Super Sideshow, no space. Sometimes there's an underscore.
Yeah. We were on X, formerly known as Twitter, but it's become a haven for Nazis. Not even the neo-Nazis, just regular Nazis. Which is funny.
Yeah. So I'm not active there anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
What's up next?
More Ahsoka. Can't wait.
That's right. Next week.